How many times this happened to you? Like, you create content calendar, like you build it yourself, you feel motivated, so you finally lock in with the content, and for example, you plan to post like 2 times a day, let's say, and you still end up posting like 0 videos for your whole week, and you're doing the math, like you're like, how much work do I have? How many calls do I need to do? How much time I need to spend on outreach? And then you realize that you don't really have time, and you just say, fuck it, I have something more important to do, and you're gonna do content like the next month. So if that's you, like honestly, like you're not wrong, I know how you feel, like that is recording, editing, posting, ideating your content is a second job, it feels like a second job, like coming up with ideas every day, filming reactively whenever you feel guilty enough, posting scattered stuff across 3 platforms, so it's a lot of work, it's a lot of workflow, and you generally don't have the room for it. I'm not gonna pretend you do, like I do understand you because I was also there, but here's the thing I want to show you today. So the version of content that's not gonna feel like a second job, and it's not the only version because like you can plan and structure your content multiple ways, but I run everything on 1 filming hour a week. So like just 1 hour a week and that's it, like literally 1 hour. And out of that 1 hour comes out a long form video, 3 short form clips, multiple threads, and posts for like LinkedIn or X. So this ain't a reason for someone to take the next step with me, which is getting them to book a call with me. So I have around like 6 pieces in just 1 hour of recording in front of the camera. And the difference between the second job version and this version isn't discipline, and it's not like talent. So it's just like one decision made before the camera ever turns on. So let me walk you through the whole thing, like how you can do the exact same thing so you can cut your long recording sessions to half or maybe even more. So like the most important thing that you need to know is this. Like, you don't have a time problem, you probably have a decision problem. And let me explain exactly what I mean right here. So think about what exactly is your time when you try to make content. Like most of the time it's not really the filming. Like you just set up the camera and you record. So the filming is not really the problem. Like that's fast, but it's like the starting. Like, what should I post? Is this a good idea? Should it be a reel or a carousel? Should I make a long form out of it? You burn 40 minutes like deciding and 10 minutes making the content. And then you do that again tomorrow from 0. So every single day you have to go over the same thing, like the whole process of ideating, scripting, recording every single day. And that's why it feels like a second job. So the job is just you deciding and doing the same thing over and over again every single day. So things like planning and trying to tweak stuff, trying to get a new idea, trying to validate your current idea are the things that are keeping you without any time to spend on content. So it's not the time that's the problem, it's the decision problem you have. So the system kills the deciding because we are doing that before we record anything. So basically like 1 decision per week, which buyer problem I'm talking about, and that's it. So like everything besides that is already mechanical and you just execute. The long form content is a breakdown of the problem, and the clips are the strongest moments of the whole video. And the threads are basically like the cutted versions in text from the long form. So 1 buyer problem is the raw material, everything else is just cuts of it. 10 scattered ideas make 10 weak posts, so 1 problem makes 6 strong pieces. So that's the whole trick, honestly. So here's what I call this. I call it the 1 hour content budget, because that's how you have to treat it. Like, it's like a budget with line items, not an hour for content, and that's how you end up just scrolling. Like 5 line items, each one has a job, and you do it like, for example, 10 minutes, you pick the problem, the other 10 minutes you outline the problem, then 20 minutes you just record the long form, then you add another 10 minutes recording like the 3 short form clips, like the 3 reels, and then you have another like extra 10 minutes to record the call to action piece or some pre-value asset that's needed, or maybe let's say like a b-rolls you need for the video. So that's like the whole hour. And before you ask, like, yeah, there's some desk time around it, like tweaking the scripts with AI, preparing stuff, opening the Notion files, bad takes in the video. I'll be honest, like, that happens, and I'm not gonna pretend it doesn't, because I'm not going to sell you just 1 hour and hide the rest in the fine print. That's not how I do this. But the camera time, like the part that most people dread and avoid all week, is just 1 hour. So let's go through all these line items and how you can do this for yourself. So first, let's focus on the first 10 minutes. For first 10 minutes, you pick the buyer problem. So this one is strategic step, like in the whole hour. And honestly, it's just like 10 minutes that decide whether the other 50 are worth anything. Because if the input is wrong, everything is gonna go downstream. It's gonna be also wrong. So I talked about this a couple videos back about how your content invites a type of person. So you already know the rule. The problem has to be your buyer's problem in her words, not yours. So here's the filter I run, and it has like 3 questions. So number 1 is, would my buyer recognize this problem as hers? Number 2 is one problem, not a team. Like missed calls at clinics is a problem, for example. AI for healthcare is a team. So team is gonna make a mush, but problem is gonna make content. And 3, can I say something about this random AI account couldn't. Something from actually working on it. What breaks, what people get wrong, what do you check? If the answer is no, you have to pick a different problem because that's the part that makes it yours. You write down the problem in like one sentence in her words, and the sentence that is raw material for everything else this week. So the next 10 minutes, you're gonna outline the long form. And I literally mean like by a spine, not a script, like 5 lines on a piece of paper, let's say, the problem, the way you're gonna say it, their language, why the obvious fix doesn't work, but actually going on underneath, how you approach it, in what order, and one thing that you can do this week. So you do this all like structured on a paper before you actually script it out on your computer. And the way we do this for our clients is basically we give them the hook word by word from the competitor, and this part is stolen from their competitors, so you know exactly like what works. Then we're doing the body of the script in bullet points, which means we're mentioning the most important stuff they need to break down in the long form in bullet points, and they're just having the stuff in front of the camera, and then we are like basically presenting that stuff as the whole value in the body. And this part goes the same way as the hook, like we are adding call to actions. We put one at 30% of the video and one in the end. Like you always want to put 2 call to actions in the video. And that's it basically. You just like focus on the problem, the wrong fix, the real cause, your approach, and one step. And if you know the problem well, and you do, like that's your job, you do AI systems for AI people, you already know how to do it. This takes like just 10 minutes because you're not inventing anything, you're just basically reading down what you already know in the order she needs to hear it. But if you're recording for your first time, I really recommend you to script out the scripts word for word. A script makes you read, like reading kills the trust, and the trust is the entire reason we're doing this. So just 5 lines, talk enough, and explain them in yourself, the way you explain stuff and in their language. Then minutes 20 to 40. You're gonna basically record the breakdown. You're gonna record the content. So you turn on the camera, you pull out the script, you talk, like use your own language, and this is gonna take like 10 to 20 minutes, depends on how many bad takes you have in the video. But yeah, like, it's totally normal, like, which means you can mess up, you can restart the section, and that's gonna be fine inside these 20 minutes. So 2 rules while recording. First, no tutorial drift. So the moment you start showing the workflow, you're making the builder content, and the whole content collapses back into attracting the wrong people. So you show how you think about her problem, not how you build a fix. And second, you keep the thinking visible. So where you look first, what most people get wrong, the stuff a buyer actually judges on you, because remember, she can judge the build anyway. In this long form video that you're filming is a deep trust piece. It's the same thing a warm buyer watches at minute 1 of you knowing that you exist. And it keeps working after you log off. So that's like the whole thing, the whole difference between outreach and making content. So one deep video outworks 50 shallow posts, and it costs you just 20 minutes a week. Also important here to mention is that we used to have like clients that were trying to be too perfect on the camera, like they were trying to avoid the mistakes, they were trying to avoid the empty poses, which literally made them more stressed. So don't worry about fumbling and failing stuff on the camera. Like this stuff we've already tweaked and changed later on in the post-production. Like once the editor or you edit the video, like you can always cut out the empty spaces and the bad takes you have. Like you have to be perfect. 10 minutes 40 to 50, you're going to focus on recording the short form content you have to record for the week. So let's say you record 3 short form pieces, 3 short form clips. And here's the key, like this is where most people overthink, but you just said the strongest things in the long form. So you know which ones they were. You could feel them, like they land while you said them. So you have to actually say those exact same 3 moments again, but just make them tighter and straight to the camera. So just 40 seconds each. And also for like our clients, what we do is we script out the short form content like word by word, script it out by their competitors, just because we are 100% sure that the type of content is gonna work. And we're doing this because we're doing a ton of content research based on the client's market. So if you are not really doing this, you can always just do it, as I said previously, but also you can do word by word. It just really depends on you. So you show like one clip for the problem itself. For example, that's my Tuesday moment. One clip that everyone gets wrong, one clip for how you actually approach it, problem, mistake, thinking, and basically those are the 3 clips you have to make. And if a clip takes like 3 takes, it's fine, honestly, just take a bit more. Like 40 seconds takes are cheap, so you can take a bit much more to actually present the script in a good way. In the last 10 minutes, you record the pad piece. So this one everyone skips, but it's why your content doesn't really work and doesn't send anyone somewhere. So somebody watches your breakdown, thinks like this person gets it, and then nothing happens, like no next step, like the interest just evaporates. So the last line item is one short piece that gives the interested person somewhere to go. So a checklist you made and how they can run, free value, the deeper video, whenever is something useful for them. Or record the objection clip instead. You take the fear you hear most about this week's problem, agree that it's reasonable, say what you check. That's the safest sounding thing in here. That's the safest thing they can probably hear this whole week, and they're hearing it from you. So either way, like 10 minutes, one take done, you turn off the camera and that's it. So you already recorded the content right now. That's amazing. So look at what came out in just one discipline. Like one better problem became one long from trust asset video. You got 3 clips, a call to action piece, free value piece, later in the week at your desk, maybe the same outline becomes another like thread on X on LinkedIn. So the same thing you just spent like 1 hour per week gave you so much content, like 6 pieces, 1 problem, 1 hour on camera. Now don't X accounting because I said I would. The hour is filming. Around it, there's maybe like 40 to 30 minutes of desk time across the week, and the thread, the polls, the things that you have to do on your own, the editing if you're not outsourcing it. If you are outsourcing it, that's amazing. But the part that requires you, your face, your thinking, your energy is basically just 1 booked hour per week. Everything else can be flexed around the client work, and none of this involves staring at a blank page, overthinking stuff, or just trying to find the best idea. Because that's the whole benefit and the whole process of the system. So this is what you need to do this week. So 1, you have to book the hour, like actually put it in your calendar. Because I also used to think like I can just record whenever I'm free, but you actually have to put it in the calendar. That way it becomes like a task to you. So it's a client meeting with your pipeline. Treat it like 1. Then 2, before the hour, you run the filter once. 1 buyer problem, in her words, 1 sentence. And if you've been following these videos, you might already have a list. Like your last audit probably service 2 or 3 problems your content never talks about. Then number 3, you run the budget, 10, 10, 20, 10, 10. Comes around like hour per week. You set actual timers for the first recording. Like seriously, take it, because probably the filming process might take you more than 20 minutes, and each week you will improve. So the goal can be to take down the recording process down to 20 minutes. And 4, you lower the bar on week 1. Like seriously, like the first hour will be clunky. The system doesn't need a great week 1, it needs a booked week 2. So that's the consistency mechanism right here. It's a calendar block, not a personality trait. And like 1 pro tip, what you can do is you set up your recording setup in your room, like you preferably spend most of your time, like you work most of it. So you want to have it in 1 room where you can just record all of your content. And once you set up everything in that room, like your whole recording setup, the cameras, the tripods, the lights and everything, you just keep the same setup at that place without changing anything. So each day, each day of the week where you have to do the 1 hour recording session, you just click the camera record, you turn on the lights, and that's it basically. Instead of you doing and changing the stuff always, like setting up the lights, finding the angle and all that. And I'm going to straight with you about what this does and doesn't do, because I'm not going to pretend like it does something and it's going to change everything in your business. So 1 hour a week doesn't guarantee inbound, because nobody can promise that. But what this does is basically it takes a lot of things off your plate, so you can focus a bit more on the other things you have to do, and also it's going to keep you consistent. So I put it together like the whole 1 page, 1 hour content budget, the 5 line items and everything, like the whole instructions. I left like a filming guide, and I also have a video made on which filming equipment you have to focus on, you have to build in order to make your studio. So everything is linked in the description. So yeah, back to that Sunday night for a second. The same person you were, like you were confused, you made that calendar and you never recorded content. But instead of I'll start properly next month, it's the 1 decision and 1 hour booked that you just did on your calendar. So that's the entire difference. And that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, click the like, share and subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video.